that in there. Oh, there we go. Oh, here we go. Ooh. Hello there, everybody. It's your host, Gaming Camper Dad, and I'm back live and in color for more talks in the truck. And we're talking about monsters, movies, and mayhem. Since it's spooky season and we're on another Hallow stream for Halloween, we got to talk about the monster movies. And earlier today, I posted a snippet of my opinions on one of the more classic movie monsters. That's Chucky. Why I find Chucky to be a ridiculous monster or horror villain, in my opinion, due to the fact that that little shit would get ragdolled by me in a matter of seconds. I would be throwing that son of a bitch around, wouldn't even have a problem with it. He's 6 pounds, he's a foot and a half tall. Why are you having such a problem killing a doll? But that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about horror monsters, movies, and why. Like, what is your favorite? What do you think are the classics? What do you think is the best horror movie monster ever to exist? That's what we're talking about today. Hopefully you guys catch in, jump in, and join in. We'll find out. Driving down the street, looking at my feet. Oh man, what a day, what a week. I'm glad it's Friday and I'm driving home, going home to the family. It's a nice 2.5 hour drive all the way back to my home state to spend the weekend with my wife and my son and my in-laws. So that's exciting. And it's the week before Halloween. It's even more exciting. Got Halloween events going on. I'll probably live stream some of that too. We'll see. Streamlight's a little awkward on my phone. It doesn't really function as well as I'd like. It kind of messes up. I don't know why. It's weird. But we're going to see how it goes. I've been driving back and forth to this place for over 2.5 years now on the weekends. And I'll tell you, man, it's rough. It's a rough time to be out here doing this. Every year, every night on Saturday morning, I drive my happy ass back home. It's a rough time. But you gotta do what you gotta do nowadays, I guess. Life's tough. Jobs are scarce. You don't making too much money nowadays. But you do what you can when you can. And that's why I'm driving 2.5 hours home. It's a great time. It's fantastic. Hey, what's up, one person watching me? We're talking about horror movies and monsters, right? What we find to be the most interesting horror monsters and movies that we have available today and of the past. In my personal opinion, the best movie monster for this time of year to watch is the Xenomorph from Alien and Aliens. We don't include Alien 3. We do not include all other Alien media after that, except for Alien Isolation. That is an approved Alien media form, and the books are approved. But I want to know what everybody else's opinion is on this time of year, the horror monsters and movies that we have now. My personal opinion, right? I think most things that come out, most monster movies or creature features that come out now, they're not good. I don't really have anything that makes me want to like go and watch a creature feature nowadays, because it's either a CGI piece of shit that looks like it was made in 2005 for the PS2, or it's, you know, some really shoddy practical effect monster that just wasn't really thought out well, and we're stuck with that. Nothing like the classics, man. I mean the classics. I'm talking about Aliens, Predator. I'm talking about Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger. Oh, what else? Killer Clowns from Space. Hell, that was better than what most of the shit comes out nowadays. I'm kind of curious what everybody else thinks. I see I got 5 people. What's up, guys? Well, hello there, Prime Bros. How you doing, man? I hope you're ready to ride along with me. I got a 2.5 hour drive home, and I'm sitting here just chilling and chatting with people. Continue on for Halloween, for Hallow Stream. Let me ask you, Prime, what's your favorite horror movie monster? good to hear. I'm glad you're doing well. Me personally, I find most of the stuff nowadays is not great, right? So, go back to like the 90s. You don't really like those kinds? Alright, let me ask you something then. What is the one thing, when you think about movies and horror movies and monsters, what's the one thing that pops in your mind that this is a quintessential monster? And you recognize it anywhere. Like somebody held up a picture of monsters and you would recognize that picture from a horror movie genre. Because me personally, it's going to be Alien, right? I'm always going to recognize that, right? But I'm going to say Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Texas Chainsaw Man, all those stuff. But I was talking about earlier today when I was playing COD was Chucky. I never understood why Chucky was a terrifying monster. I get the gimmick. He's more of a comedic horror monster kind of deal. And he's possessed by the doll's possessed by a man who sold his soul to the devil. Scream. So, there we go. Scream. So, what's his name? Ghostface. Perfect horror villain, monster kind of deal. Like if you think of horror, you're gonna think of Scream. I remember the first preview for Scream that came out, fucking terrifying. Right? That's great. Everybody loves Scream. Right? Nowadays, I would say most horror movies nowadays that come out, right, aren't great when it's monster movies. But when it comes to like, I would say psychological or paranormal movies, I think this generation has got that down pat, right? Top to me is terrifying, right? Hereditary, terrifying. Great movie, right? But not a creature feature, not a monster movie, not one of those serial killer-esque things, the paranormal. That's what I'm talking about. I could go back and look at the movies of the early 2000s and the 90s, and you had just great creature feature or monster movies, and I loved them, right? I recently got done watching Relic. You ever watch that movie? It's a great movie, right? It's a creature feature based out of Chicago and the Natural History Museum. Not to spoil it too much, but let's say a chimera-type creature ends up in the Natural History Museum there, which is massive in Chicago, right? And is killing people. Oh, God, what was his name that played in that fucking movie? God, I'd have to look up his name, but he was great. Hey, what's up, Alexa? How you doing? We're on the long drive home, and we're talking about horror and monster movies. But Relic, great movie. Phantoms, great movie, right? Phantoms had Ben Affleck in it, right? And that's probably one of his earlier roles when he was just starting out in acting. And you can tell the difference between when he first started acting and you look at his later works now, right? He definitely was just learning how to get out there and act, right? But it's still a good movie to watch. Oh, God. What else? Ooh, The Blob. The Blob. I'm going to tell you, that movie scared the living bejesus out of me when I was a kid. The Blob was one of those movies that I literally, as a child, I watched that movie and I could not get through it, dude. And even today, like, I'll still have, like, moments of, like, if I see that movie, I'll get triggered. Because one of the most gruesome scenes I ever watched in The Blob was was when I think it was the guy in the diner was looking at the sink and he gets sucked into the sink. Like, literally the Blob pulls him into the sink. It is one of the most terrifying scenes ever to watch, dude. There are times I literally have moments like that. And when I watch Phantoms, they did an homage to that a little bit, where one of the guys was looking through a mechanic's sink and he's looking down there, and I'm like, dude, I'm literally having PTSD of watching somebody getting sucked through a drain. Like, that didn't happen, but it's one of those moments where it's like, oh, so that obviously was one of those moments where people picked up on that. They're like, oh, this is great. This is going to be stuck in people's minds forever. Now they're going to have a forever fear of some blob-like creature sucking them through their kitchen sink. And the other scene I remember in that movie, right, that still gives me haunts to this day is the waitress in that diner runs out and she goes to the phone booth, gets in the phone booth, and is trying to call for help. And the blob starts to form around the phone booth as she's trying to make a call, and she sees like her boyfriend in the blob being slowly digested. Thanks for sticking around, Alexio. Appreciate it. Bye. Have a good night. It's one of those scenes where it just haunts you, right? It literally haunts you. It's the same for me when I watch Aliens, right? When I watch Aliens, I love that movie. But that moment where Newt's in the sewer and she's waiting for them to cut through the floor, and she's just standing there, and the next thing you see is the xenomorph pop out of the water. Slow-mo, dude, fucking chef's kiss. Great shot, great movie. You cannot beat it. But I miss those movies, man. I miss good quality movies like that. And nowadays, like horror movies, it's a hit or miss, right? You get really great horror movies, but most not so much. And it's just in general for most movies nowadays, right? I would say probably about 80% of movies that come out from Hollywood are awful. They're not great. I just don't get it. I don't think we'll ever have a period of like really great movies again, mainly because it's turned into what I would call, what's up, man? How you doing? I don't know how to say your name, but what's up? How you doing? Appreciate you watching. I think most movies nowadays, they're like soulless. They're cookie cutter movies, right? When I worked blue collar for most of my life, when I worked in carpentry and the housing industry, a lot of the big builders would come in, they build these houses, subcontract to subcontract to subcontract, right? And the houses were built like ass. And this is during the housing boom in like 2006 to 2008, right? That's basically Hollywood in a nutshell now. Most of their movies, so done poorly, not thought of, and just done terribly. Now, what's your favorite movie? Favorite movies? Alien and Aliens. Those two right there. Then I would say The Godfather Part 2, Jaws. It's going good, Israel. It's going great good. I can't complain. Driving home, it's a 2.5 hour drive home, so it's a rough drive, but I'm here to chit chat with people while I'm driving home. Keeps me awake, keeps me focused. So yeah, my top 5 would be Aliens, Alien, Godfather Part 2, Jaws. What would be my 5th favorite? Shawshank Redemption. That's long. Drive? Yeah, it's a long drive. But that's what I gotta do. I work in another state during the week. I stay in a camper. That's why my name is Gaming Camper Dad, for a reason. Right? So I stay in a camper 5 days a week, and then on the weekends I drive home, see my wife and my kid. So my wife and I like to joke that we're pretending for divorce. So, but yeah, man, those movies, and honestly, Jaws, in my opinion, the shark is a quintessential horror movie monster, right? It is a great movie to watch. You cannot beat it. Oops. What about you, man? What's your favorite movie? Now, your name, or your name, is that the shark one? Jaws? Yeah. Jaws is a great movie. I know they did. Oh, it's Korean. Okay, so I wasn't sure if it was. My guess was either Japanese, Korean, or Chinese. I just can't pick between the three because I don't recognize the writing. Gotcha. I have a couple buddies of mine when I went to college. They're from South Korea. I actually haven't seen Young in, God, it's been 10 years now. God, I feel old as fuck. The funny part, when I was in college, he actually offered me to go teach English in Korea as I was getting ready to graduate in 2010. And I turned it down, and sometimes I go back and like, man, I wonder what my life would have been like if I went over and taught English in Korea. Yeah, my friend, his family was all from Korea, and I was getting ready to graduate in 2010. And he came up to me and he was like, hey, what are you going to do after you graduate? I said, well, I want to teach. And I was, at the time, working at an elementary school and a high school in the States. And he was like, well, my family is looking to hire a teacher to teach English in Korea if you want to come over to Korea. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I was tempted to go. I was really tempted. But with what I had in student loan debts and my father's business collapsing due to the house market crash in 2010, I couldn't do it. If it wasn't like that back then, I probably would have gone to Korea to teach English. And God knows what would have happened to me if I had gone over there. Yeah, I know so my friend Young used to tell me like that it was very competitive education wise. My wife is not American. My wife is European, and I find that education systems outside of the United States is very competitive in pushing their kids. I know with me and my wife, we're very education oriented. Like my son is 9. Oh, he'll be 9 in the next month. And every day he has to read. He has to read for an hour, right? And he's reading chapter books now. And he has to do 2 pages of math. And the 2 pages of math he does right now is he's doing fractions, and he's doing high limit division and multiplication. So we push him to get good at these things. And right now he's excelling in math, which is really what I want him to do, because the way the world's going with technology, it's like math is where it's got to be, right? And that's what I want from him. For me, when I was younger, I suffered from dyslexia, and I still do it today. And I have to try to encourage him to read, because when I was young, my parents didn't really push me to read, so I fell behind in that fact. So it took a while for me to get proficient in reading and math. But once I got it, I flew by it, right? I have a photogenic memory, so I can literally read things now and retain that information, about 70% of it within a one read go. But I want my son to have a better life than me, because my first I would say 10 years out of college, rough time, right? I went back to grad school, but still the economy wasn't great, and I had to struggle. I do want to go visit Korea, I think, in the next couple years now that I've gotten a good job and I take care of everything. My son wants to really go to Japan. I'd like to take him over to Japan and Korea. I'd like to take him to the Philippines. My grandfather was in the Navy during World War II, and he served he was in the Philippines at that time. So I'd really like to take him there to go kind of experience. But what we do now is, usually in the summertime, he goes overseas with his grandparents, and then they go to different countries, because it's cheaper than daycare. It's cheaper than daycare in the States. Oh, you live in Canada now? Oh man, what's up, my Canadian northern neighbor? Yes, my grandfather was in World War II. He was a Navy man. So my grandfather At least this is what the story my grandmother and my mother told me. My grandfather joined the Navy when he was 17, just before the war kicked off. And he was stationed in the Philippines. And the ship that he was on, it was after the initial attack on Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attacked several different military locations, including the Philippines. And my grandfather's ship was sunk by a Japanese submarine. And the way my grandmother told me was he washed ashore, and the only reason why he wasn't shot by the locals, the local Filipinos, is because they recognized his Navy-issued pants. So my grandfather then spent the duration of the war until MacArthur's landing in the Philippines, fighting in the jungles. So he had a wild time. He had a lot of PTSD, but back then they didn't really call it PTSD. My grandfather just said that, you know, sometimes you just gotta fucking deal with it. So he was shot twice, once with a wooden bullet apparently. I really need to take time to like get into my grandfather's war records. Yeah, he had a lot of trauma. I remember when I was a kid, my grandfather, because when I was like 9, and my grandfather died when I was about 11, and I remember I was 9, and I asked him, because my mom had talked about World War II. My grandmother loved to watch the World War II documentaries. My grandfather would not watch them, right, because he lived it. And I remember asking him about what he did in the war, and he just like, I love you, David, but I can't talk about it. And he never talked about it, but, you know, my grandmother eventually started telling me after he passed, you know, he was shot twice. He saw horrible things. He had a tendency, so funny enough, when he would fall asleep, he would always have his hands shoved under his pillow, right? And he was trained to have his hand under his pillow to pull a knife in case of attack. And we were told never to go into our grandfather's bedroom when he was taking a nap, because he would literally, like, if you woke him up, he would swing, because it was just a reflex. He would pull that hand out and swing like he's getting ready to fucking jab you with a knife. So, but my grandfather dealt with that trauma all his life, and he never really, I don't think he really addressed it. But back then, that generation was a different kind of generation. Crazy times, man. I tell you what, crazy times. How's it up there in Canada? What's it like living up there? You like it? Or you don't want to talk about it? Because Canada. Absolutely, man. I have my own stuff I have to deal with, and I have to work through my life, right? But that's part of it. I think it's best that if you do have that kind of trauma, to find somebody or someone that you can sit down and talk to and express those pains and sufferings that you have. I really wish my grandfather did, but yeah, that's how it goes. We can feel about more nature. Oh yeah, God, Canada is like literally 80% trees. Everybody talks about America, and they're like the United States, and it's like the forests and stuff we have, but Canada is literally just one giant forest. I'm gonna be ended up making a trip up there in, was it March, I think, to Toronto. Yeah, I think March in Toronto. We're going up there to visit a friend of my wife's uncle and one of his friends up there, because where my wife is from, the United States, you have to get a visitation visa, And they don't give you visitation visas unless you have a job and a home. And my wife's uncle doesn't have that where he's from. So the next closest place he can go to where we can actually go see him is, without having to fly all the way over to Europe, is in Canada. Now, it's 50-50. Like, I'm going to tell you, like, I'll be honest with you. Most of what you see off of, like, the news media here, it's a lot of smoke blowing up everybody's ass. You have one side loves Trump and one side hates Trump, right? Most of us here are just kind of like, I don't give a fuck, dude. I just need to pay my bills, put food in the fridge, take care of my family, and maybe have a little time to drink a little beer and be chill and not care, right? I think most of the people that hate Trump are people that are just gonna hate him no matter what, right? Some people have their reasons, and they have their rightful reasons. I don't blame them. And some people like him, they have their rightful reasons to like him, and I don't blame them for that. That's, in my opinion, that's your choice, right? You love him or you hate him. I'm pretty much in the middle. For me, it doesn't matter. Like, the president's the president, and I just want that president to do a good job and not fuck up everything, and maybe not blow up shit once in a while. That's all I'm asking for. I would preferably not to see us drone strike more things. He's doing a good job. I don't know. I really haven't paid attention too much to this term he's done. So I've been, like, my day-to-day is I wake up, I go to work, I go home, I stream a little bit, I go to bed. I'm not really pulled into politics anymore. I used to be. I find that politics has made people so toxic to each other that it's just not good. Do I agree with some of the points for like immigration? Sure, right? My wife's an immigrant. I had to go through the legal process with my wife. It cost me personally, because I didn't pay for a lawyer, it probably cost me $7 or $8 grand when I didn't really have $7 or $8 grand to spend through all the paperwork and the bullshit just to get my wife over here. And it took, and mind you, we were married, and she went back because we got married when she came over on a student visa. She got married and she went back because we didn't want to have a moment where something happened at home and she overstayed her visa and then she was going to be locked out of the country for 10 years. That's kind of how it worked back then. So she went back, and I did visitation, so I would fly over and go see her every 6 months. But it cost me a ton of money to do that, right? And it took 3 years. 3 years and a fucking random meeting of a U.S. congressman and asking his office to inquire why USCIS kept losing my fucking wife's paperwork for immigration. And the moment their office inquired what was going on, all of a sudden everything was found. It was perfect. Here's your wife's immigration interview with the U.S. consulate in Bulgaria. Happy fucking day. Right? I think the immigration system is fucking broken, and I think that if you come here and you're looking for a better life, I offer anybody to come here and enjoy life here. But there are a lot of people waiting in line in the right way, trying to do it the right way, and I encourage you to do that, right? And there's reasons behind that. So one, right? Hey, what's up, Mexican cat? How you doing? Number one reason why you want to make sure that you do it the right way of coming here, right, is one, employers here take advantage of workers beyond belief. A lot of homeless, yeah. So there's a big homeless problem here too. I will tell you, when a lot of people are coming here, employers take advantage of those who come here illegally because they know they can get away with it. Because every time you see ICE do a raid, right, you're not seeing the business or the companies getting fucking their asses handed to them for breaking the law. It's the people that got came over here. The companies hired them knowing they weren't legal, and then abused the shit out of them. And then the moment ICE comes in, it's like, oh, well, we don't have to worry about it anymore. Get the fuck out of here. Don't take advantage of people. And that's even people who are legal here. My wife got taken advantage of, right? My wife's boss, when she was here working on a student work visa, wasn't paying her overtime. He was just paying her straight time. And she was working like 20 to 30 hours of overtime every week. He was not paying her time and a half, which was required by law. When we started dating and going over that, she showed me one of her checks. I'm like, and mind you, the guy who owned the business she worked at was a friend of mine, right? And he was taking advantage of her. And I was like, no, you're supposed to get time and a half. I said, she was like, well, he says I don't get paid that because I'm not an American. I said, no. That's not how that works. You get paid time and a half, even if you're not an American. If you're legally allowed to be here and you're working on a visa that allows you to work here, you get paid time and a half overtime if you were an hourly employee. And funny enough, the guy who was my friend who owned that shop, he was an immigrant too. He was a naturalized American citizen, but he was an immigrant from Israel. Gun problems. So I'll put it this way. Gun problems in general, right? Most deaths that happen in the United States by guns are self-inflicted. Majority are suicides, right? And then your follow-up with suicides, the next thing is usually what they call mass shootings. But the problem is with mass shootings is they include gang violence, which is the majority of the mass shootings in the United States. If you ever take time, take a look at some of the studies they do for that, you'll find out that I think a lot of them define mass shootings as shootings that involve more than, I think, 2 or 3 people. But a lot of those get categorized, like a lot of those are categorized as more gang violence. So, when you have rival gangs fighting over drug territory or rival gangs fighting over prostitution territory, you're going to have gun violence, right? Most of the people that own guns here don't really use them all that much. We just have them for home defense, hunting, whatever else we want. I have a few guns. And they're for my home defense. I got a pistol, I got a shotgun, I got 2 rifles. They're exactly where they need to be. And I hope to God I never really have to use them on somebody, because that's not what I want to do. I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to take anybody's life. That's not my ideal. But when it comes down to, if somebody breaks in my home, right, and they have the intent to hurt my wife and my child and plan on doing harm to them, I will choose to protect my family before I choose not to take a life, right? So if some man breaks in my house, or some woman, or a group of people break into my house, I will do the best to retreat, because to avoid, I don't want to get into the conflict. I'm not going to go in there like John McClane from Die Hard or Rambo. But what I will do is I will take my family to the highest point where I can protect them, and I can put myself in front of them. But the moment somebody enters that point, that last line of, this is my family, this is my home, you can take whatever is down below you that is outside of this room. But the moment you come to that last room, to me, you forfeit your life, because my family takes precedence over you. I'm not going to sit here and be ashamed to say that either. My family, my son, my wife, they take precedence. And I really never ever want to be in a situation like that, but that's the way I feel. I will give anybody a chance to leave or retreat or go. But the moment you come to that last line, you're going to cross that last line with the intent to hurt my family. I choose my family over that person. Well, thanks, man. I try to be a good dad. I try to teach my son to be a good kid. I want him to be kind and gentle, but I want him to also be strong and tough, right? And I know it sounds like oxymoronish deal, but I think the important thing is when you're raising your kid, you want him to be kind and gentle in the right moments, but be strong and courageous in the moments that need it. He's gonna be 9. What about you, man? You got kids? You got a wife? You got a family up there in Canada? My bad, set and found. I'm a Packers fan. Die hard. Been a Packers fan since I was 8 years old. What about you? Any sport teams you like up there in Canada? Anything you watch for the States? All right, yeah, okay. What's my last drink? Water. Ooh. So you got a family up there? Or are you just solo, running it solo right now? See, we got another person that jumped in here. Hey, say hi. Come and sit out, chat with us. Oh, okay, you're in college. What you studying right now? Make sure it's a good degree field. Don't study something that, it's a passion project, right? Don't be like me and study history and be like, I'm going to become a professor. And then realize that didn't work out. Funny enough, I don't even work in the historical field anymore or in the teaching field. I work in a completely different industry now. Marketing? All right, nice. It's a hell of a field to get into. I'm not in marketing. I work in the pharmaceutical industry now. So what do you want to do after college? What do you want to be? Where do you want to take your marketing career? This is the question. Dude, chill out, Mr. 3 headlights. God, man. That's the worst part driving late at night. You get the worst fucking drivers out on the road. All right. Hey, that's absolutely go for it, dude. Go for it. Europe is a hell of a place to explore. There's so many beautiful countries to check out. I would highly, highly recommend taking that time. So if I can recommend my favorites, right? It's going to be England, France, Spain, Germany, Bulgaria, Greece, Romania. I would highly recommend to go to Turkey. Beautiful country. Trying to think, Italy. Those countries would be, just go check them out. Somebody messaged me. I think I'm gonna go for it, dude. Go explore. The world is a fucking phenomenal place. It is great to go out there and see a whole bunch of shit. I will always tell people, go and explore. That's the one thing about Americans that kind of like makes me laugh a little bit. I love my country, right? And the country is vast and big, and there's so much to see here, but there's so much to see out in the world. Gotta get out there and go see it. What was my dream job when I was young? Man. What I had a passion for, what I wanted to do when I was young, is I wanted to teach. And I know it sounds like lame. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I wanted to teach. I wanted to work with kids. I had a passion for working with kids. That's why I work, and the field I work with, I manage people, so I kind of do, like, I coach and I teach and I try to make people better. But I had a desire to help kids because when I was young, like, I didn't have a whole lot of support, but I had a great few teachers that really pushed me to go out there and go be something good, go be something great. You know what I mean? And I wanted to teach. When I was in my undergrad, I spent from 2000, and the funny part was when I went to college, I actually I did sports in college. I ran on the cross-country team and track and field team. I know I don't look like it now, but back in the day, I was actually in great shape. But, you know, I couldn't run track and field anymore because my dad's business was going under, and I had to, like, take a step back to help him out. So I ended up going to coach from 2007 to 2011, right? I was a coach and a substitute. And I loved doing it. And I was studying to be in education. And then my last year of public education, I worked in the elementary school with kids with behavioral problems. And I coached the high school track team at one of the schools. The school had hired me to be their track and field coach. My last year I worked in education. And they put me in the middle, in the elementary school, just to get me in there until they could open up a high school teacher's role there. I know we talked about horror for the first hour. Now we're talking about life. I'm having a great conversation here, man. Join the conversation. We're having a wonderful conversation. It's what I want to have. I want to have people just chatting, talking about whatever makes you happy, whatever gets you going. Horror started out as it was getting me going, but now we're just talking about life. I think that's a great part of this. We can talk about the horrors of what life brings to you. You know, when you were kids, you wanted to grow up and be a fucking superhero or something, and you didn't have a care in the world, and then you become an adult, and the horror story really begins, because then you get all the bills, and all the stress, and all the anxiety. But yeah, I wanted to be a teacher, man. I wanted to work with kids. I wanted to make positive influence on their life. But my last year, and I'll tell you why I lost hope to work in the public education system in the country. When I was young, I wanted to be old. Yeah, right now I want to go back like 5 years. Boom. Oh my God, dude. If I could go back 15 years right now. No, not even 15. If I could just go back like 12 years. Just like when me and my wife first got married, right? I would fucking find something different. Life is a lot about choices, man. You get where you're going. The reason why I got out of public education was I had just left the elementary school at like 2 o'clock, and I came over to the high school. Usually when I would leave the elementary school. I'd go to the high school, get there around like 2:15. I'd get prepped and ready for the practice that day or before the meet, and then get ready to go. And I walked in and I saw a young man that was on my track team, very naturally gifted sprinter. He was in the gym, he was playing basketball. And I knew every kid's schedule, right? Because it's like, when you start running for me, I need your schedules. I need to know what class you're supposed to be in and what you need to be doing and what your grades are at, right? Because the school I worked at was a rough school, right? It had a drug problem, it had gang problems. So my requirement was I need to know what classes you were in and what your grades looked like. So I walk in and I see him, he's playing basketball in the gym. So I'll go up and I'll say, hey man, what are you doing here? He said, what do you mean, coach? What are you doing in the gym? You're supposed to be in chemistry right now. Well, my teacher doesn't care. Okay, but I care. So go back to chemistry class, or you're not going into the next meet. Coach, you're serious? Yeah, I'm 100% serious. Go back to class. So he got mad, went back to class. That's fine, right? I had just dealt with that. Brian Bros was hidden. Why are you hiding my people, man? People are just chatting. Yep, there's so many skippers in college. Absolutely. But this was high school, right? So I go to the gym teacher and I'm like, hey man, what are you doing? He's supposed to be in chemistry class. Send him back to class. Why are you keeping him here? Letting him play basketball. You know he's got to be in chemistry. The gym teacher looks at me and is like, well, I don't really care, and he doesn't care, so I'm not going to waste my time. I'm like, what do you mean? It's your job to care a little bit. You just got to care just a shade a bit, okay? So I go and I get with my assistant coach. My man, what are you doing? Why are you hiding messages? Freshwater, what's going on? I'm seeing all these things that says was hidden by Freshwater. What's going on, dude? Send me a DM on, send me a DM, Freshwater. Tell me what's going on here, dude. I'm not sure what's happening, bud. Let's get back to why I left school. So, I ended up meeting with my assistant coach, and I told him, I said, hey, I need you to take the team out. I gotta go talk to so-and-so's chemistry teacher. I don't want to give his name out. So my assistant coach takes all the kids out to practice, and I go meet with his chemistry teacher. So I go meet her with him, and I'm just like, hey man, like, he's supposed to be in here. He needs this class to graduate. Like, you can't just let him just walk off and go do whatever, right? Go talk to the athletic director. Go talk to the principal. Call me. You guys have my number for this exact reason. I will make him go back to class. And the chemistry teacher looked at me and was like, I don't really give a shit. These kids don't care, and I don't really give a damn. He's like, so if he wants to go out and do whatever, I'm not going to waste my time. And I just looked at him, and I was like, then why the fuck do you get a paycheck? And I left his classroom. I went down and talked to the AD and the principal at the time. And both of them were like, well, we can't really do anything about it. We're just going to have to just let it be. And it's a moment in my life I realized that, like, public education, there's a fair amount of teachers. There's great teachers in public education in the States, but there's a lot of teachers that don't give a damn. They're just in it to get their paycheck, get their weekends, get their summers, their Christmases off, and that's it, right? There's a fair amount of teachers that are not meant to be teachers, and they take advantage of kids, and it's upsetting, to be honest with you. It's really, really disappointing to see that. Many men wish death upon me, oh my, I don't know. Have mercy on me. We are an hour through, an hour and a half left for this drive. Still there, my man? How was high school life when I was a kid? Blast. It was fun. It was a fun time. You know, back then I didn't really have too many things to worry about. I mean, other than my father pulling me out of school to go fucking put floors in and shit like that. But, I mean, other than that, it was a good time. Right? You know that meme where it's like, the kid who was cool with everybody but didn't get invited to a whole lot of shit? That was me, right? When I was in college, I was that guy. I would go to the parties and shit like that, but I was called dad by a couple of the fraternities when I was in college, because I was the guy who would come around, pick people up when they were drunk, or get them out of getting DUIs, because I was the guy who had made connections with local police departments around my university. And I would get calls. I remember I had one story where I had a buddy of mine who got pulled over, and he called me, and he had been drinking, right? And he calls like, Dave, I got pulled over. I was like, is it a local cop or is it a county sheriff? And he's like, it's a county sheriff. I said, okay. Do you know his name? He gives me the guy's name. Okay, I know this guy. So I had this guy's phone number. So I called. I said, hey man, what's up? He's like, I'm just working. He's like, I just pulled somebody over. I said, yeah, I know that guy. He's like, really? Yeah, he just called me. He's freaking out. He's like, oh shit. He's like, well, I haven't really done anything. I just pulled him over because he failed to turn his blinker on. I said, okay. So can you do me a solid? You mind if I come down there and get him? He's like, I can tell where you're getting it. Yeah, that's fine. Just and this is before body cameras were like a big thing. So I went down there, picked him up, and I parked his car, and I got him back home. But I did a shit ton of that kind of stuff when I was younger, when I was in college. My buddies when I lived down in a beach town for the summer at work, they got me a Father's Day card. Because I would literally go out with them, drive them around, and take care of them. It was a good time. That's a long fucking ride home. Every weekend. So I went to technical school. So we were allowed to pick our tech areas. I picked criminal justice. To think back into it now, I think I picked criminal justice because it was easy. I want to be honest, when I was younger, I was lazy as fuck when I came to school. I kind of wish I studied CAD or I went into engineering. But, you know, life choices, right? I want to went into criminal justice. Like, I might want to be a lawyer. God, I can't stand lawyers. I got a few friends of mine that are lawyers, and I'm like, good, I love you outside of your fucking role as a lawyer, but when you are a lawyer, you are a prick. It's like, I love you, but you're a prick nonetheless. I know a guy who's a lawyer. He's a lawyer in the music industry, and God love him, right? Great guy. But he will sit there and talk about how he has struggled. And I'm like, bro, you grew up middle class. I know where you grew up at. You grew up in a cul-de-sac. And now you work in an industry as a lawyer, making well over 6 figures, if not into the 7-figure margin area. Don't talk to me about how you are struggling. You joke of a person right now. Get out of here. I always laugh at people like that right nowadays, because most of those guys that like are lawyers, like they'll be like, oh, well, people just need to pick themselves up by the bootstrap. I'm like, motherfucker, you have probably not picked yourself up with a bootstrap in your fucking life. Don't sit there and tell me. No, dude. So my tag, my channel, right, is Gaming Camper Dad. I spend 5 days a week living in a camper for my job because my company promoted me, but they promoted me at a site outside of the state I live in, right? And instead of trying to rent an apartment up there, it's easier to find a campground, park a camper, live in a camper 5 days a week, and then drive home on the weekends. I mean, the camper I have is like a 33-foot long by 8-foot wide camper, so it's basically the size of an efficiency apartment I would rent in the area where my company is at, right? And that would spend $2,300 to $2,400 to be there. Well, I spend $1,150 for a camper and a campsite. So it's a fun time. So when I stream games, I'm streaming as Gaming Camper Dad. I just hope that within the next year, I get moved on to a role that's first shift. Because working this second shift role is brutal. It's a drive. Second shift is. It's tough, but I am glad I don't work the third shift. Third shift is 12 to like 8:30 in the morning. I would lose my mind. I cannot do that. Second shift's tough enough. First shift, that's the goal. That's the goal, just to get on first shift this coming year. That way I at least have a normalcy of a sleep cycle and I can see my kid and my wife reasonable times. What kind of games do I do? Well, I currently started playing Dark Souls Remastered. So it's the first time I'm playing Dark Souls. Most of the time I'm playing horror games at night, and then I'm playing Call of Duty or Battlefield 6 during the day, or League of Legends. League of Legends is like that. What's the best way to describe it? That fucking toxic ex-girlfriend that you just can't give up and it just keeps coming around. That's League of Legends for me. Like, I fucking hate playing that game sometimes, but goddamn, it's fun sometimes to play. But right now, I just started doing a whole playthrough. Yeah, man, League of Legends. I was playing League of Legends when it first came out in 2011, I think. 2010 or 2011, when it was just the Twisted Tree line. I'm OG League of Legends. Probably the most frustrating thing with League of Legends nowadays, it's like set up with an algorithm. Oh yeah, dude. That's the one thing. Like, I play rank. When I play rank, I get hard stuck. I can never get out of bronze anymore. I can't, because I'll get to like, all right, I'm moving up, and then all of a sudden I get thrown in with the worst fucking people ever on my team. And I play support, so I'm not meant to get a ton of kills, right? I'm meant to just cause chaos, tank damage, and just fucking be a menace when I need to be, right? And I usually play Nautilus, or I'll play Tom Kench, right, as support. And when I work with people, when I play League of Legends, I will tell them, like, look, I'm going to first pick a fight at level 3, all right? I want to bait them a little bit closer to our tower, and then I'm going to hook, pull, stun, and then I'm going to slow, and I need you to, like, be right on it and get in it, right? Now, if I have a great ADC, dude, mop the floor every fucking time. Lane just gets dominated. But I would say about 70% of the time, I get stuck with an ADC that the moment I start, they, like, focus on minions. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop focusing. Why are you focusing on minions? Or I'll do the hook, pull, engage, right? They'll come in and start shooting, and then they'll stop because they'll get too close to the tower. I'll rehook and get the kill, and they're like, you stole my kill, okay? You're kill stealing. Like, no, you didn't continue on with the kill. Like, we need to control our lane. You deciding to back up because you're too afraid to go for the kill when they're right there. And you know my hook's coming up. It's ridiculous. And at that point, it's like, either the jungle is like vastly like behind the enemy junglers, or the top lane is just completely collapsed. It's ridiculous, dude. It's so agitating and so mind-numbingly, like, frustrating. I'll sit there like, what are you doing? Stop. Or I'll get an overly aggressive, like, ADC that thinks they're a tank, will go and rush in without me and die. And the worst part is that they'll be the ones that'll be in the lane by themselves, knowing I'm back at base buying items, and then they'll go and die. And I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, but my support sucks. Forfeit 15. Like, dude, you went in by yourself. You are a Caitlyn. You ran in by yourself against a fucking Leona and a Jinx. Of course you're gonna get fucking mollywopped. Are you kidding me? A 5-year-old could mollywop you with that combo. Get out of here. The funny part is I haven't played League of Legends, I think, in the last 2 months. So, I mean, I've been a lot more chill as of late. I'm not raging out, getting pissed at somebody. Like, what are you doing? Stop. What are you doing? I think my next favorite position is so it's going to be always going to go primary support, then jungle, then top, then mid, and then ADC. No, but I don't want you to shut your mouth. I just didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden it said messages were hidden. I'm like, by you, and I'm like, what's going on, man? Everything okay? Something's up? That's all. No, I love you, brother. No, don't apologize, man. I just wanted to know what's going on. That's all. I wasn't sure what was happening. Oh, don't worry, man. I appreciate you guys just chit-chatting with me, man. This makes this ride so much easier when I make this drive home. First, do you play any video games? You never told me what games you play. If you play games at all. Yeah, man, it's so hard for me now. Like, when was the last time I played? I said like 2 months ago. The last game I played as Trundle Jungle because I just wanted to get a quick game in before I had to go to work. And I believe I carried. I think I went like 13, 2, and like 7. But I still got grief because Top was being fucking stupid the entire game. Who was it? Oh, God, I want to say it was. They were in Alawi, and they were going up against Darius, which you would think Alawi would, if like a good Alawi player would probably dominate that. Nope, she was one of those like fucking push the lane too much, push under tower, and then as soon as she got close to tower, enough to where the tower was just outside of range, Darius would pull her, spin her, and fucking beat the shit out of her and kill her. And it was like, she died like 6 times in a row in a matter of like 15 minutes. I'm like, what are you doing? This is the worst jungle ever. No ganks. You're the worst. I'm like, I'm down at bot and you're up there over pushing tower. What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure. Like, that's the thing. Like, in the low bronze and iron, and even in silver, it's all the same. They all fucking like sit there, and there'll be like one person is like, I'm gonna ruin these people's day. Bro, can I just rank up? That's all I want to do. Just let me rank up. Let me get there so I can enjoy this game a little bit more. Nope. I will say though, what I will say about League of Legends, right, that I enjoyed is the show they made on Netflix, Arcane. Honestly, I think it's probably the best animated video game adaptation made. Like, hands down, Arcane is that good. Character development, art style, cinematography, storyline, like, it's fucking amazing. And I hope that the next series they bring out is going to be just as good. I think it's going to be phenomenal. At least I pray it is. Oh man, these long drives, they are so brutal. I got to get back to playing it again. I'm probably going to try to put on my schedule after Halloween, but I'm thinking, because the way my Twitch schedule is set up is right now, because I'm at the camper, I stream from like 1:45 to 4 in the morning, and then I stream again at usually around like 10:30, 11 o'clock till 12:30, 1:30. Faker 11, are you gonna give out candy to young kids? Now, well, I don't get too many kids to come to my house for Halloween. I do have a fucking great Halloween decoration set up though. Love my Halloween decorations. This year I hung up 3-foot tall, 3-foot skeletons all on my siding and my roof. Looks like they're climbing on the side of my house. I've got a couple graves. Like, when I say graves, I mean like really nice, high-end, like made out of like steel graves that look like stones. Spiders. I got spider webs. I got a reaper that's like animatronic. What? How much was it? What do you mean, the animatronic? Oh no, not 3 meters. No, sorry, 3 feet. 3 feet. So that's 1 meter. Roughly they're each about 1 meter long, right? And yeah. So I take those and I attach those to my siding, so it looks like how many do I got? Eight of those or 9 of those? I can't remember. But it looks like they're climbing up the side of the house, and then I got a couple on the roof. So it looks like they're trying to like climb up and attack my house. It's pretty cool. I like it anyway. Halloween's my favorite holiday, dude. I love Halloween. And the funny part is, I didn't celebrate it when I was a kid. My parents didn't believe in Halloween. They thought it was the devil's holiday. Right? My mom was like, no, you can't do Halloween. It's the devil's holiday. The devil is worshipped on Halloween. And I remember, like, when I had my son, and at the time I was living with my mom when we had our son because I was flat broke at the time. I remember I told my mom, I said, look, Mom, I know you don't like Halloween, but I love Halloween. And me and my family are going to celebrate Halloween. And our son's first year, we put him in this, I think this narwhal outfit. My mom's like, he's so adorable. Oh, with so many pictures. Oh yeah, he's doing trick-or-treating. He'll probably do it for another couple of years, and then he'll get to that age where teenagers are, and they're like, no, Dad, no. Trick-or-treating's for babies. I'm a cool teenager. And I'm gonna like, all right, kid. My son this year is going to be a Fortnite character. He is abnormally really good at playing Fortnite for some reason. Do you know Chief that Tyler? He don't love his followers. He wants the money. Do you know Chief the Tyler? He don't love his followers. He just wants money. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, for me, whether people like me or follow me or whatever, I want people to just chit chat, talk, and have a good time and be entertained. I do this because my son wants to be able to watch me on YouTube and Twitch. That's the reason why I started doing this, right? My son literally said, Dad, I want you to be a YouTuber or Twitch streamer because I want you to be home. And I told him I can't. But I said, I can't be home. That's never going to pay me anything. I said, but you know what I can do? Is I can stream on YouTube and Twitch and make videos so you can watch them while I'm away, right? I love my son. I don't get to see my son, and the reason why I do this, the reason why I chat on YouTube, the reason why I play video games so he can watch, and I sit down on the weekends with him and I show him the clips on my Instagram, and I show him the videos I post on YouTube, and I tell him, this is for you, buddy. Watch and enjoy, right? So, and that's why I do this. I love doing it because I know that he is going to watch these during the week when he gets time, and he's going to sit there and get to watch his dad when he doesn't get to see his dad very much, right? He adores when I come home on the weekend. So a couple weekends ago, my best friend, who is the godfather to my son, came in town, and I hadn't seen him in over a year, so I was like, hey, sweetheart, I gotta go see my buddy. I haven't seen him in a year. I'm gonna catch and have dinner with him, and I'll be right back. And I told my son that, and he goes, Daddy, I don't get to see you. You're gonna go and leave me, and I don't get to see you. It's not fair. And it broke my heart to do that, because I'm sitting there like, my son's my world, and I was like, buddy, I love you. Daddy's got to go see, Uncle Tony, and I can't not see him. I said, it's just like your best friend, right? When your best friend wants to get around, you got to go see him, right? So, what time is it in the U.S.? It is 2:30 in the morning. So, for me, anybody that comes on here and chats wants to sit here and laugh at me for being a fucking idiot, or screaming at jump scares, or getting getting raged out over video games or just shooting the shit about movies or whatever. I just want to have that cool conversation, talk about whatever, or talk about life like we did tonight. All we did was talk mostly about life, what drives us to things, right? That's what I want to do. I think if you're in it for the money, like, that's fine. You go get your own money. That's great. But I mean, I work a great job and I make decent money. I don't really need to make a ton of money. I just need to make enough money for my job and maybe bring some happiness in this world, a little bright spot, because that's the big thing. I think most of like what's out there is not meant to like bring happiness. It's more meant to, like, I don't know, drama, frustration, anger, and all that shit. And I just want to be like chilling here, chit-chatting with you guys and telling you, hey, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you sitting here, chatting with me, watching me, right? That makes my day. You guys don't have to be here chatting with me, huh? Right? You guys can be like asleep, go in the bed, be like, peace out, dude. The weird old bald dude. We'll have fun on your ride home. But you're sitting here chit-chat with me, and I love it, dude. Is that car going in the wrong direction? Jesus Christ. God, what a ride. Well, what are you guys going to do on your weekends? Or your weekend? I know what I'm doing. I'm going to Halloween events this weekend. I got a local town festival. We have a big Halloween celebration. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to take a phone call from my job. Work never ends, guys, and especially when you're somebody that other people rely on to fix problems. You're gonna be driving and moving. Sorry about that, bud. I had a phone call I had to take from work. Apparently they got problems. I gotta try to figure them out. Oh, it's your favorite rapper? That's the thing. Like, dude, I think if you get into doing this kind of stuff, if you get big in YouTube, or you get big in Twitch, or you get big in the music industry or the movie industry or whatever, I think you gotta have the mentality of, like, those people that decided to consume the product that you're putting out, or consume the art, the entertainment. You gotta show them love, because they don't have to sit here and watch you, or they don't have to sit here and, listen to your music, or watch your movies, or buy whatever you're selling, or watch you on stream, whatever it is, right? You should be showing them love, because at the end of the day, they're giving you their time, right? And I will always preach this to everybody, right? In this world, nothing in this world has any intrinsical value. If you lose $100,000, you can eventually make $100,000 back. You lose friends, you can get new friends, or you can get friends back. You lose a car, right? You can get a new car, you get a new house, whatever. The one thing you cannot get back, the one thing that everybody gets, but you can never gain back, is time, right? It is always the one thing that we get a certain amount of on this planet, and it counts down, and we never are able to gain back any extra of it, right? You are given an allotment of time on this rock, right? And whether you get a lot of it or a little of it, it'll always be determined. That's what you got, and you gotta use it. You gotta use it for whatever you want to do, whether it's doing something for yourself, seeking your dreams, whatever. But that time, you're never gonna get it back, right? So you gotta make sure you use that time for the best things of your life. How much minutes left until you arrive? Let's see. It just passed. So I'm just checking. I want to say it's like 45 minutes, maybe. I'm getting close. I'm getting close. But time is that one thing in your life you can never get back. You have a certain amount of it, and when it's gone, right? It's over. You can't trade for it. You can't buy more of it. You can't barter for more of it. It's there and it's gone. So the time you waste on things that aren't important, right? Frustration, anger, regret, things like that. That's time you're wasting, in my opinion, right? I don't get me wrong. I have a lot of choices in my life that I sit back and go, oh, well, that probably wasn't the best decision. Goes fast when you're old. Time goes slow when you're young. Yep, absolutely, dude. I feel like my time is just flying now. It just keeps going and going. Do I love my followers? Absolutely. I absolutely love the followers on here. I don't make anything from YouTube. I don't have enough to make from it. But even if I was, I still love the people that are on here, right? I want to be able to bring a smile to everybody's face as best I can, right? Because the world is full of such fucking dark shit and terrible stuff. But goddamn, can I just be that one every now and then, just be that one person that's having a shitty day that flips on, and I'm just sitting here just going off on whatever. And it brings a bit of a smile and maybe a little bit of happiness to it. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. I want to see people have a good smile and have a better look at life. I don't know you guys, like in the real world, but I'm sitting here talking to you. And I'll tell you right now, you are a person that deserves love, no matter what. And if I can shoot some of that love your way, I'll shoot some of that love your way. Mr. Postman. Where's Mr. Police Officer? Somebody's getting a ticket. So. Oh. Alright. Well, guys, it looks like I'm going to have to tell you good night, good luck. Unfortunately, duty calls, and I got problems to fix at work, so thanks, guys, for sitting here and chatting me up. I really appreciate you sitting here. You didn't have to, but I do appreciate you guys doing that. You kept me awake for this ride, so I love you. Keep being you. Keep being awesome, guys. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Keep camping.